Got a call from Baldeep one day and said, "Hey, we're doing something new. This is the investment. You ready just to move it on over?" It took about 10 minutes. And it was like, okay, send it. We're done. I was already on the fence about leaving the other company just because of the support, and because of the experience that I had with you all on the SBA side, on the
Yes,
marketing side. It was a no-brainer. I already had the relationship. It was fond of you all, and jumped right over.
welcome to the Service Bureau Accelerator podcast, where we help tax professionals start and scale a successful service bureau.
Welcome to another episode of the Service Bureau Accelerator interview series. I am here with Ross and Paula. Ross, if you want to go ahead and kick us off.
For sure. So Paula, welcome. Good to see you. How you doing?
Hello.
Awesome. Thanks for joining. So, Paula, why don't we start with a quick little introduction of yourself for the thousands, or as Baldeep likes to say, is the millions of people watching these videos.
Okay.
Maybe start with a quick little introduction about yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself. How long you've been in the industry, and ultimately kind of what led you to become a service bureau.
Sure. So we are so excited because we actually kicked off our 15th year this summer in the industry, from
Congrats.
tax preparation. And maybe now about 4 or 5 years ago, switched on over from tax preparation to the service bureau. Started with SBA doing the early season marketing, just as a tax preparer, and came through the industry to do software resale through another service bureau, actually. Got a call from Baldeep one day and said, "Hey, we're doing something new. This is the investment. You ready just to move it on over?" It took about 10 minutes. And it was like, okay, send it. We're done. I was already on the fence about leaving the other company just because of the support, and because of the experience that I had with you all on the SBA side, on the
Yes,
marketing side. It was a no-brainer. I already had the relationship. It was fond of you all, and jumped right over.
right on. Awesome. So you were already set up as were you set up as a full service bureau before, or were you just like kind of
Was.
reselling? Oh, really?
I
Oh,
was.
okay.
Yep.
Okay. I
I,
didn't
I,
I didn't know
if I
that.
remember
You have a little bit.
correctly, there was
Yeah, very little.
if I remember correctly, was it Crosslink? Were you using Crosslink back then?
Was using, so I didn't know we want to say the people's name, but I was using Crosslink. It was trash. The online, right? We're gonna do that today. The online version. I'd had experience on the desktop just perfectly fine, but that online
Yeah.
version, real, just not good.
Yeah, and back
I
then it
was
was
Sigma.
super trash.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I didn't even look back. It was with Sigma.
Yeah.
So they're, doing the whole licensing thing, no training, pay me for this marketing package that really wasn't marketing package. Um, and, figure it out. And they had full control of your back end. You can even add a preparer on your own, a tax preparer. And so it
Yeah.
was like, okay, this doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
I vaguely recall our conversation. I did remember the software. I didn't remember who you were with, but it checks out. And then that's just a simple conversation of numbers at that point.
yeah.
At that
Well,
point,
and
Like I
and
said, it
and
didn't
the
take
back
long
end
at all.
control too. I'm sure the back end control too, right? Because it's like, well, every time you need to do something, and we that was like a big part of our messaging. I remember like early days, we kind of hit on that, and then we realized, well, it doesn't, like, not everyone is like really understands what's going on, so we kind of changed it. But yeah, that's a huge thing, right? Where it's like you don't have control of the back end. You got to kick it up to someone else every time you want to do something.
Mhm.
It's like, well, in that scenario, like you're not really a service bureau because you don't have control. You're just a reseller.
Yeah.
Interesting,
Yeah.
interesting. So got it. So what's been your strategy? Like, you've seen a lot of iterations of our program, showing from day one, basically. Um, but what have you kind of gone out to do to grow your service bureau? Because like your volume year over year, I think probably like the first year it was still kind of like figuring
Mhm.
out the playbook, but your volume has constantly grown. You basically doubled where you were 2 years ago, right? So like
Mhm.
50% growth year over year. What's been kind of your strategy these days on like
And that
growing your
really
service
was the
bureau?
goal that I set. Part of it is, trying to get out of this tax game when you've been a tax preparer for so long. And so, part of what I said, okay, I want to double every year. And I've decided, okay, steady pace. And you look back in 5 years and you hit it because I realized I wasn't going to be able to do it in year one unless I was really willing to let go of the tax office. And so I ran the gamut. So I started with the academy. That went well, assets developed, but it is a slow pace. For me, it was a slower pace. And I realized I really love the education piece, which let me not focus on the selling piece. And I said, Paula, you're here to sell. So it was great for them. They loved it. It worked well. You could definitely make money if you want to just do webinars and coaching all day, but it took me away from the selling. And so I started focusing on preparers that wanted to transition. They want to transition from Jackson Hewitt, Liberty Tax, and become independent. So I could keep a part of that education piece, but I could also be making money with them and then grow them to be their full service ERO. And at first, I was against it. I was against that whole get 100 preparers under you. I was like, no, I don't have time for that. And now I love it. And that's part of how I have been able to grow, really targeting that population and then transitioning them.
Yeah.
And now they see a path to grow from, coming on board to being independent to eventually, hopefully, turning them into resellers.
Yeah, well, it's interesting with those national brands. It's their so you see a lot in like the industry, like people talking about like rev splits and this and that and that. With the national brands, they just pay hourly, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
and a lot of those preparers, they have a solid 25 to 100 clients that they personally do and they personally know, they personally brought to that location. So it's a lot of base hits in that pool for sure.
Right.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
then they're willing to actually listen and do it the way I tell them to do it. Right? So they have a population, but they really don't have the business side. Where with the academy, I'm fighting against people who have a foundation. They think they know the game. And so they're challenging everything. I'm like, I'm telling you, this is the pattern. So you don't
Yeah.
have that conflict.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they've been
Or
able to
or
grow.
or they're starting from like complete ground zero, and then there's
Yes.
so much work to get them all the way up
Yes.
to the stage. Whereas like that prepares like you've already know how to do taxes for the most part. You've
Hmm.
got some customers. Like let me just show you the business side of it and like the growth. Yeah. Love
Yes.
it.
And so every year I want to double, and then every year I commit to starting a month earlier.
There you go.
Right?
Perfect.
To go, okay,
You're
we're
gonna be
gonna
starting in December for next year at some point.
So I'm like, "Okay, I'm up to July." I'm like, "Okay, if I could start this selling by July, I'm good."
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome.
A lot of
No,
people
that's
overlook that. See, that's an important thing. So a lot of people treat the service bureau world like tax season world, where they're so used to taking that vacation after tax season. The only people that are really hurting is themselves. Like we start typically March, April, right? Like we'll
Mhm.
start our outreach, and a lot of people don't start till now, and now they start popping up. And
Yeah.
now being we're in, if you're watching, if you're one of the millions watching this at home, it'll be right now it's end of August
Yes. Yes.
2025.
Yes.
Right? A lot of
yeah,
people wait till
and we're
September,
we're
October.
already we're already 50% through our growth goal,
I know,
and
make me
people are
feel
just
that. It's a
people. Some people
dagger,
are just
it's a
starting.
dagger. I'm
There's the
convicted. I am very convicted. But what happens is when you try and keep your foot in both areas, in April, you're exhausted. Now, April is when you should be converting all the people who had just had bad experiences. I'm
Yeah,
clear. I'm one of those people. I'm clear what I should be doing,
yeah,
but you're exhausted and you're like, I just need a break.
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
And
It's a whole
that's
other
just gonna
business.
yeah, that transition is gonna happen over time, right? The more the more you just like the service bureau just slowly kind of trickles and continues to grow and continues to build. You're bringing in the right people. They're becoming EROs. Their support becomes less and less and less over time. Gets to a point where then you're just like, all right, I can basically go 100% over here, and I can just and then that will allow you to start in April and May
That's right.
and be advertising because you're not exhausted anymore because your tax season was a breeze. You just had a
Yes.
little bit of support in January, February, and then you're
Yes.
chilling. So awesome. It's really cool. I also want to touch on something you mentioned there was like the like really finding what you like, what you enjoy the most. And
Hmm.
I think that's kind of like one of the coolest things about being a service bureau is like there's so many ways to do it, right? There's a lot of
Yes.
different business models, but finding your like your niche, finding your play and what really works for you. Because the playbook, as far as like how you go and market and advertise and get customers, that's the same. Like that pretty much is the same. The messaging is a little bit different, but that process is the same. And then finding your sweet spot where for you it's like I love educating people, but I want to work with the right people to like that I want to educate. So it's like just dialing that in. So no, it's really cool. You've carved out that little niche, which is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, that's become the different I've learned that becomes my value add. Because I stay with them during the season, right? And they know, for even for experienced EROs, they don't have someone they could just call and run a tax file by. You know, it's a cutthroat kind of business. You can't call someone and talk about a tax file. So having that has made a big difference. That's what makes them sticky. You have to figure out what makes them sticky to you. That's for
Yeah.
me what it's been.
Yeah. And it speaks directly to what they're looking for too, right? Like if
Yeah.
someone's like, oh, I don't need any of this, like I want to do my own thing, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, fine. That like maybe that message doesn't resonate, but the person that you're advertising to who's looking exactly for that, they're like, I've been working for, national brand for X amount of years. I want to go and do my own thing, but the only way I can do it with them is by spending, who knows how many dollars on a franchise, and
Uh-huh.
I don't want to do that. I'm looking for another option. It's like, boom, there's Paula. Perfect fit. Awesome. Awesome. Cool. Um, what looking at some other questions here for you. Some of the training, I'd love to get into that because
Uh-huh.
like I mentioned earlier, like you've seen 2021 when you bought and it's like modules are coming soon. Videos are not
Uh-huh.
recorded yet, all the way up to like paths, and now we've got like the 7-day launch and everything. Um,
Uh-huh.
share a little bit like overall your experience with our training platform as a whole, and then maybe we'll get into some other specific areas.
It definitely has grown over time, and so that's always really appreciated, and then you all do a really
And no
good
charge to you, Paula, and no extra charge to you.
no charge, no charge, which is why I just give my credit card every conference. I don't even know what I'm buying anymore. I just like, "You know what? I didn't pay anything all year long, right? Here's a tip." I don't even know what I bought last time. Just like, "Here's a tip." Because
Well,
I
you would
you
have loved this one. You would have loved this conference because we didn't sell anything. You would have walked home with all your money.
Yes, but you all have done a phenomenal job in paying attention to where are the gaps and deficiencies, where the need is, in terms of where we're not producing to say this is where we need to fill that gap. And so whether it's just, the routine showing up when you say you're going to show up, the regularity of that, even when it was just once a month, now you all are banging it out, and is once a week. I got to get you out of school pickup time for me to be there more often, but it's a great opportunity to show up, and then it's not just the webinar. It's the fact that when it's over and you've given the content, you're still there, right? And you're like, okay, we have another 30 minutes, another hour, and whatever they need, you're there to serve them to do that. And so that availability, I think, is your game changer, in terms of making it worth it and making it worth the investment that they made. And the truth is, it's worth more than what we pay. And so, but what I think that does is it helps us to be committed to deliver and to meet the goals that you set, whether it's 500 or 1,000, out of that appreciation so that we're able to translate that back to you.
Awesome. Awesome. Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause here's a
It
little unknown fact. We don't get paid unless you guys produce bank products.
it's a win-win game here. That's why I want Paula to triple her business every year and start in April.
Yes.
No breaks, Paula. No breaks next year.
No breaks. No breaks.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
started the ads on Monday, okay?
There you go. There you go. Yeah. Well, it's interesting. Something you mentioned is like that we look to fill the gaps, and like that's something that I always kind of talk about, that how cool it is when we do like we send out those surveys in like end of January, February. We're like, hey, give us your feedback on the year, on the program. And because we always do our meetups in February where our team, we kind of go, we get an Airbnb for like a week, and we just kind of
Mhm,
like brain dump and review and reflect and plan for the year.
mhm,
And we always look at, okay, like what are those gaps? Like where were there a lot of like missed information, or people had a lot of questions about so and so? What can we put together to help train people? and then we have our ideas. We kind of like pregame before our meetings,
Mhm.
and then we look at the surveys when we're there, and it's like, like literally line by line. We're like, yep, yep, we have addressing that. We're addressing that, and we're always pretty much really dialed in with
Mhm.
what you guys are asking of us as well. So it's always really cool to see that how that we're always very kind of dialed in and tuned into what is going to help our community grow and help our members grow. So it's cool. You mentioned that we try to fill in the gaps and we do our best. So it's
Mhm.
cool. So now you've gone through before I well, I'm sure you have. You've gone through like the new 7-day launch program, right?
Yes.
Yes. What was your feedback on that compared to like our previous training models, how there was kind of like much more longer content that you had to kind of work your way through versus that 7-day where it's like, here's a little sprint course that you can go through. Any feedback on that?
Yes. Now, in full transparency, I was already with you all for quite some time, so I didn't have the same motivation to go back and start from
Sure.
scratch. But I absolutely did look at it because one of the things you all are really great at is giving the templates, and so
And it's
I did.
loaded in there.
It's loaded in there. So I was like, and then what happens is because you all do such a great job in taking the information, rinsing, repeating, and consolidating, it allows a new person that's interested in coming on to be able to have confidence really quickly because this job is not just selling, right? You got to be able to sell, and oh, I got to be able to go do Canva, and so it's these skills that everyone doesn't necessarily have. They just did taxes, right? And they don't know there's actually some business skills you have to bring to it, and you all take out that for them to so that they could have that. Now, for someone like me who's more seasoned, I'm like what I'm able to do is to look at that and say, okay, that works for a new service borough. What can I now do in my business that is similar to be able to translate and to get my tax offices to come on board? What does that 7-day look like? What is that on my side, right? Because I see how it effective is there and I'm able to translate it. So it's not just getting what you all are offering is not just getting the service bureau, but as we grow and we develop and and in our business, we're now able to say, what do we do on our side? So we can make more money, then you make more money. But it's not just the getting started. I just want you to know it's also the sustaining the veterans over here as well, that we're able to learn from that.
Awesome. Yeah. And like being able to see the framework, right? And kind of like
Yes.
model off of it where it's like, okay, this works really well. Let me go and like apply that and model it into my
Right.
business. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's critical. Like obviously, a lot of the trainings and a lot of stuff that we provide, it's like it's not like we just meditated on a rock and came up with all this stuff out of our heads. Like this is over books, like hundreds of books and courses that we've kind of gone through and pulled all the knowledge and try to disseminate it and simplify it and present it. And yeah, a
Mhm.
lot of the frameworks and stuff, it's like, we didn't come up with a 7-day launch. We've been in other programs where it's like a 7-day
Right.
boot camp or a 7-day, it's because it's a little sprint. It gets people, it's a short obtainable goal where it's like, okay, 7 days, I'm gonna focus on this
Mhm.
versus a 90-day game plan. How many people start a 90-day game plan and fail within the first 3 weeks,
Right.
right? So it's like, how do we make it really simple and get those quick wins? And that's what it's all about. So it's cool
And
that
they
you can
have
kind
the
of see
steps.
that and
The
be like, let
steps
me
are
model
very
that.
defined. Yeah, the
Mhm.
fact that it's step and they could check it off and have those wins, I think keeps them to understand, "Oh, I can do this," and they seek successes very early.
Yeah, exactly, right? Just builds that momentum. Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Cool. So my next question for you is kind of more over into our support side of things. You had kind of mentioned at the start of the call, your previous setup. You were already on the fence a little bit about it, or a little bit on that side. What's been your support experience overall with our program? Not like the tech support, like in the software, but your support directly with SBA and our ticketing platform and getting help whenever you need it.
Yeah, support is very responsive always. And a lot of times when you're working with others, you call when it's emergency because it's painful to sit on the phone or talk to someone you don't understand the language. Um, but you all have laid out the system I know, okay, go do the ticket, but by the time I do the ticket and go to the bathroom, I'm already getting a response, and now I have to do something. So response time is excellent, and then when I don't respond, I get the ticket back saying, "You hadn't responded, we're gonna close this." I'm like, "No, no, 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 I'm coming. Let me do my part." So very responsive, and the fact that you all have built out a team, and, that's part of the growth that has happened in the organization, that there's a team being built out, and there's someone actually that's delegated to, that specific issue, and they can focus on that issue, and you all could do what you do, has also been excellent to develop those subject matter experts throughout the organization, so that when I hear back, I have confidence. And Loom has been a game changer. Whether I'm showing you by Loom what my problem is, or the fact that you've taken the time to record it, and we're 2 in the morning and you're like, "Okay, I can walk through this video." That's, just the fact that you all use those tools to make sure, you know, when you're an entrepreneur, you're not always on a 9 to 5. We're able to still get what we need, um, and, still very personable. It's direct, let's get to it. This is what you need to do. Here are the steps, and, we're able to move on.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned like seeing our team grow because that's like out of all of our questions, like we don't like every now and then there's people where like in your scenario, where it's like you've been with us since like day one. Like when the first, I think you were even on like the first call that we did with like the ESM group, and we had like a little like webinar, and everyone's like, we went through that pitch deck, and everyone's like, "What is a service bureau? Like, what are you
Uh-huh.
talking about?"
You sold me
Um,
my package. I remember the day
yeah,
I did it, yeah, for
yeah,
ESM.
yeah, yeah. But it's just, yeah, it was quite funny that thinking all the way back then. But then that's something that like I haven't asked a lot of people or talked about that, but that's something you brought up where it's like our team over here on the SBA side has grown like a lot over the years. And again, it's all just, in the effort for better support, better
That's
systems,
right.
better processes. Now there's a whole back end team that, really gets everything rolling. We've got more hires coming down the pipeline in other areas. And it's like, yeah, we're really, really building to just keep pouring in and providing better and better support. I don't know how much better we can get on certain areas, but we'll try. We'll
Yeah,
do
and
what we
so
can.
what that translates to somebody like me who's been around is that, right? Because 'cause we're just regular people doing what we do, trying to, make money, but what happens is we see that you are reinvesting the money, right? We're all in the game to make money and can go buy houses and cars and flex on Facebook, but that you actually are reinvesting in order to not just to grow, but to serve the population who is working with you. And we see that service. And so that's also why when you are training and you tell us to get a dedicated caller, right? You have credibility because we're like,
Yeah.
You have a dedicated caller, right?
Yeah, they
That you
quit. They
kind of
wouldn't
put
stop
your money where
calling
your
me until I
mouth is.
signed up.
Yes. And so you all put into action, and that makes us believe you. Like it works because I'm here, right? It worked on me. So that credibility and that, whether we're saying anything or not, they're watching to say, how are you growing? And we see that you're investing and get back in us.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Appreciate that. Yeah. I love your perspective on a lot of stuff. Really kind of looking at it from the whole approach of like not just our program growth, but how that relates back to you and the effect that has on you, seeing things grow and seeing things move, especially again.
There's a whole lot of people behind the scenes that you have never seen and probably will never see.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah. Very true. Yeah. Awesome. So a couple other questions for you here, Paula, and then we'll wrap up this quick little interview. But um, so you mentioned starting your service bureau 1 month early each year, which means you're starting like now, basically, right? For your service bureau. What are you most excited about this year for your service bureau? And what are some of the things you're looking forward to next year or in the future for your service bureau? What are the things that are like really excited about your goals and kind of growth that you're working towards?
This year, I'm excited about introducing the reseller option. So I have several that have demonstrated, consistency and that are looking for growth. And so I'll be introducing the reseller option, trying to get that solidified in helping them to understand that they can do more and be more, in particular with the bad circumstances that they came from, or the not so favorable. And so seeing them win is what I'm most excited about. Is seeing them win and seeing them grow. I have some dedicated people in our tax office that helps me to support our offices. So when they call about tax problems, so I can see that they have grown in their tax knowledge and they have grown in their business acumen. And so giving them the opportunity to be resellers is just another opportunity to see them go to the next level. And I'm looking forward to that and how that translates.
Nice. Yeah, keep the growth happening. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Cool. So then my last question for you, and then Baldeep will wrap it up with a final question for you. But what would you say, like, if someone is on the fence, maybe they're looking at joining SBA and they're kind of doing a little bit of their research, maybe they're watching this video, what would you say to someone who's looking at joining the program? What kind of words of advice or wisdom would you impart with them about joining Service Bureau Accelerator?
I would say don't do it alone. There's no reason to do it alone, and it's not just about having support. SBA is a place where you all have demonstrated that you're personally invested in our growth, and you are not selfish in terms of sharing the knowledge and sharing the methodology. And it's not just about the business, right? We become family, and it is worth the investment. Whatever it is, I don't even know what it is right now. It is worth the investment. And if you are actually putting the playbook into action, that investment comes out tenfold. And so with that, I'm saying it's a fair business. It's fair in terms of the pricing. It's fair in terms of the fees. It's fair in terms of the return and investment. And you all go above and beyond in making sure that our success translates, not just because you're successful, but because I genuinely feel like you care. And I think that makes a difference, is to be with a group of people that care and that gives it to you straight. And and you're with us along the journey. It's not just a database of training and we go figure it out. You're with us, you're available, and I've been other places to know that that is not always the case.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Appreciate it. Appreciate the feedback.
Paula always has good feedback.
Always. Yeah.
Always has good feedback.
We got to do
Please
more of
stop.
these, Paula. We got to do more of these calls.
Paula always has different insights. You always get something
Mhm.
new out of Paula that you
Yeah.
don't hear from everybody else.
Well,
Yeah. I
everybody has
love
a
it.
different background too. I'm the corporate girl, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they're more polished insights.
Well,
Corporate polished
well, thank you.
insights. No, it's all good. One final thing, Paula, for the millions watching at home, maybe there's somebody watching that's like, oh, I'm stuck with this name your national brand bullshit here. And I like Paula. I want to work with Paula. How do I get in touch with Paula?
Ooh. How do you get in touch with Paula? Great. So, we're running Kojak Tax Pro, and we are definitely looking to grow with other EROs and other preparers that are just looking to step out. And so there is the contact me, or you could, certainly reach out on our Instagram page,
Spell
kojaktaxpro.com.
that for people because it's spelled
Yep,
differently.
it is. K is a K, uh, Kojak, taxpro.com. And yeah, definitely be happy to talk to anyone that come on board that's looking to do something different.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being here, Paula. We'll go ahead and wrap it up. Have a great rest of your day. And to the millions at home, take care.